So you are a personal trainer. Naturally, personal trainers are passionate about health, physical health, mental health. You talk about it online. It's important to all the things that you do, but you also talk about spiritual health. What would you
Mhm.
define spiritual health to be?
I think spiritual health is a whole kind of body health. So whenever it's spiritual health, that really means taking care of your heart, your mind, and your body. Those are all super important factors. As servants of the Lord, we don't want to neglect our physical health. We don't want to neglect our spiritual health. And so it's kind of whole body health I would define as spiritual health. I think that's I've never been asked that question, so I think it's kind of like the definition that I would think of off the top of my head. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you mentioned there, you are a Christian and you not only are a Christian, but you
Yeah.
have it very much as part of your training and your work and how you work with your clients. And I guess it's interesting that how it's combined together, isn't it? Because personal training is this is the exercises you do, go and do this.
Right.
But also it's like the whole package thing because there's all often,
Yeah.
personal trainers are almost like therapists for the clients that they work with because you spend a lot of time with each other and you talk about lots of things. So why do you think it's important to emphasize that element to your clients and the package, I guess, that you offer to people?
So, as Christians, like we want God to be the center of every single thing that we do. And for so long, like especially in my life, God wasn't really the center of my health at all. And so, when God was in the center, I was the center. And so, it just made it super centered around me and just really making me constantly kind of chase a certain body goal. But instead, when I read the Bible and dig more into what the Lord had to say about health in the Bible, it was revealed to me that everything we do is to be for the glory of God. That meant that my health is to be for the glory of God. And so really giving my journey to him and letting him be the center of that is freeing instead of constantly, worrying about what I look like. Like I just want to take care of my body. Proverbs 31:30 says that charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. So I want to take care of my body. I want to steward my body, but looks is the least important thing about that. It's about feeling good, feeling strong so that I can serve the Lord, so that I can be a good wife, so that I can be a good future mom, so that I can help others do the same. And it has literally been like the coolest thing ever to see the women in my program experience that freedom and experience that my worth is not found in what I look like or what I can do, but it's found in the fact that I am choosing to honor God by living a healthy lifestyle. It just changes everything when you make it about God because God doesn't make it about looks. And that's what the world is very centered around. So, yeah, it's just like, it's so awesome to help them be able to just experience that freedom that's found in Christ.
It's interesting how you talk about worth because the fitness industry generally, it does enable people to feel like they're worthy through exercise, feel that, they can change their body, develop their body, they can become more confident in that. And I think that that becomes with pressure as well. And there's a bit of a breakthrough of personal training where it's actually not just about aesthetics. And aesthetics are a byproduct as well. If you do train, naturally your aesthetics will change and
Mhm.
perhaps become more desirable to what you would want. But I think it's different when you don't have that as the main goal. It's about, whether
Mhm.
lots of people would do it for strength or for mental clarity, just endorphins,
Mhm.
however it is. But having that other meaning of why are you doing it. Therefore, if you do put on a little bit of weight, or if you do lose a bit of weight, or whatever, if you fall off the slight aesthetic goal that you're looking for, it's not all over. And it's also a lot more sustainable because it becomes part of
Yeah.
your life. And I think and health in all aspects, not just physical, not just mental, not just spiritual. I think that they are all very much linked together, and that's very much what the message that you put across is. It's not just one or the other or the other, it's that whole health package. And I think that when people
Yeah.
strive after health, like what is health? How do we have a healthy lifestyle? How do we have it sustainable? All of these things, a lot of it does come down to like worthiness. You need to be worthy of certain things. You need to be worthy of looking this way, of doing this way. You can't be fit and going to the gym if you don't look like a complete gym expert. And that has been a barrier,
Mhm.
I think, for women when they want to start the gym. So it's interesting that
Yeah.
kind of slant on worthiness and the definition of
Mm.
worthy. Like how can someone else say that someone else is worthy or not worthy of doing things? It's quite a weird concept, isn't it?
Mhm. Just whenever it comes to worth and your health and fitness journey, like I always trust my clients, like we all want to look good. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to look good. It's just the fact that when we make that our main purpose, it will never be enough. It will never be enough. You will always be looking for that next thing to look like. You'll always find that next person you want to look like. And it's never enough. And so it is freeing to let go of that because the thing is when you choose to make healthy choices, knowing that you're living a healthy lifestyle, that is all that matters. And eventually, like you said, the physical side effects will come, but when you focus on the process and journey that gets you there rather than just always wanting that end goal immediately, it is so freeing.
Hmm. So, what is your fitness journey? Did you have a certain, you like alluded to some sort of epiphany that you had that, hold on, like I'm striving after this goal or whatever it is, but when it's that kind of thing when you get there, it's like the gold medal effect, isn't it? In the Olympics, when people strive towards a goal, then suddenly they're kind of submerged. It's quite a dramatic example, but they submerge into this big, deep depression because they've achieved this goal. Now they have nothing to work towards, which is also why having a goal that's not just aesthetics and maintaining it into your lifestyle
Mhm.
of fitness is a really good option to go for. But what was your fitness background and journey kind of up until this point?
Yeah. Um, so it's kind of funny looking back at my life as a teenager. So I grew up playing basketball, so I was like active in that sense. But when it came to food, oh my goodness. I started working at Chick-fil-A when I was 14. I was homeschooled, so I was able to get a job and work quite a bit. And I just remember being like literally so unhealthy. I would see people eating salads and literally gag, be like, "You, like, why are people eating those?" And it was just so funny. I literally was eating Taco Bell like 3 times a week, did nothing to take care of my health. Okay, like horrible. So when the pandemic hit in 2020, my boyfriend, who's now my husband at the time, he was working out quite a bit. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to come with me?" And I was like, "Sure." So I kind of started working out with him. And honestly, I started loving it. I grew up very weak, very skinny. And so that's just kind of what I was known as the skinny girl. And so when I started working out and gaining strength, I was like, holy moly, this is like actually kind of cool. But with that came a lot of pride. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so cool. Like I'm starting to look so good. I'm getting muscular and stuff like that. Like my butt was growing and everything. And so of course I was like, oh, I look so cool. And so during that time, I also started being super consistent in my Bible reading, which is kind of when the Lord opened my eyes there. I'm going to kind of backtrack actually a little bit. So within that, I have always kind of been involved in social media and everything. And so it is so easy to fall into that comparison trap on there. So, of course, when I started my fitness journey, I started following all these other fitness girls and just saw how great they looked and like I wanted to look like them. And so I will say for a while in my fitness journey it was unhealthy. Like I just really thought that eating very low calories is what was going to help me be strong and healthy and look good and doing more cardio. Like I mean, I literally worked out like 7 days a week for like 2 hours. Like I it was like I did not have a good day if I did not make it to the gym. My happiness was reliant on that. And obviously there are scientific things like yeah, your endorphins are going to be boosted whenever you go to the gym, of course. But there's a difference between that and me like literally just being upset that, oh my gosh, like all my results are going to be gone because I'm not going to the gym. So there was some really unhealthy patterns that I had put myself into and very just wanted to like show myself off and everything like that. So just kind of some unhealthy things that I'd stepped into. And so going back to that, in the middle of that time is when I really started being consistent in my Bible reading. And so at that time I was working at Chick-fil-A 5 a.m. at the time. And I made a commitment to myself that no matter how late I got to bed that the night before, I was going to get up and I was going to read my Bible for 15 minutes. And it wasn't this, oh, I have to get up and read it for an hour. So that just shows you guys like you can spend 10 to 15 minutes in the Bible each morning, throwing that in there. But I started reading for 15 minutes. And one morning I was reading 1 Corinthians 10:31. And it says, whether you eat, you drink, or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. And really throughout that whole workday, I was really just meditating on that and thinking like, this journey is for me, 100% for me. That I look cool, that I'm chasing whatever I'm chasing here and I'm not making it about God. Like, what's my why? Where am I going to find fulfillment in literally just chasing this body goal? Like, where am I going to find fulfillment in people thinking that I'm cool? Like, that literally means nothing. And so God worked in my heart. And as I continued to really dive into the word of God, especially over, I'd say this past like year and a half, God also really revealed to me just about modesty in the gym and how he was dressing and just how it was very revealing and to like show off my body. But like, I want to work out to be strong and healthy. Like, I don't want to work out to show off my body. And so now, like, instead of just chasing a certain body goal and like, instead of comparing myself to others, like, sure, sometimes I do get caught in the comparison trap and I got to put my phone down and be like, hey, what are you doing? Those are the lies of the devil trying to get into your mind 100%, because that's what the world does, is make it all about you. And what the Bible says is make it all about Jesus. And so the devil tries to put those things in your mind to really just switch your mind to make it all about you and just make your journey negative. Instead, like, now I get to have joy in my journey. Like, I love working out because first off, like, it's a way to worship the Lord, to thank him for the wonderful, strong body that he's given me. Like, I get to use it as a way to worship him. I get to use it as a way to inspire and encourage others. And I just get to know that I'm taking care of my body for the now, but also so that I can be a future mom, so that I can, run and play with my kids. So that right now, my husband and I, we moved here because we are serving in a youth ministry. So I get to hang out with the youth and be active and do fun stuff with them. And so it's a blessing to have a healthy body for so many reasons rather than just looks. And like, looks is the least important thing that I focus on. I just get to focus on being strong and healthy and reaching big goals, for the fact that like I want to push myself and show others that they can do hard things, but nothing that I feel like is like restrictive towards me. So health is just fun now, like I used to literally never eat any dessert. Like, now it's fun. I go out and I eat dessert. I don't eat it every day, but like it's fun to go to like a bakery and get some donuts or go get ice cream with my husband. And I just don't feel restricted anymore. Like, health is meant to be fun, but I feel like a lot of ways that the world does, it just takes everything away from you. It's like, oh, restrict this, take this out. And it's like, no, like, practice discipline, but have fun with health, like, trying different forms of exercise and things like that. Like, I love trying new things. Like, a year ago, like, all I did is weightlifting, and now I get to like run and bike and swim, and it's so fun doing different things. And so, yeah, God has brought me such a far way in my health and fitness journey, and just given me so much joy in the journey. It used to just be such a depressing thing for me in a sense, and now it's just freeing and so much fun. So, yeah, that's kind of my fitness journey.
Amazing. It's interesting how you describe that because you talk about how you feel quite free now. You feel like how freeing it is to have that focus, that it's not on you, it's about glorifying God through your exercise, through your movement, through having a healthy body. And obviously you post online as well to a big audience on your Instagram, certainly. And a lot of these things, people probably think, oh my goodness, that sounds anything but freeing. You can't do this, you can't do that.
Hmm.
People have that perception of Christianity anyway. And
Yes.
posting things online, therefore you get an audience that you can't control, you don't know, you can't necessarily give context to. And as that grows, especially through reels that can be shared with anyone, not really who follows you, how did you find posting online and growing your account? Because I'm sure that a lot of people who follow you are very supportive and lovely, but naturally you will
Hmm.
get some hate for being different in the world, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a very interesting concept how, despite, I guess, giving positivity and happiness and encouragement to people, it also, because it's different, because there's different things that you believe in, that can also attract quite a lot of criticism, even when you're not
Yep.
agitating anyone. It's a very interesting concept. How have you found posting online
Mhm.
and seeing your audience, the good, the bad? Why did you decide to do that?
Oh, that's a deep question, honestly. There's a lot to that. Like I said, like, I've always been involved in social media, and I always kind of loved posting. Like, when I was younger, I posted YouTube vlogs, everything like that. Thankfully, those are long gone. But I know the struggles that I faced in my health and fitness journey. And when I realized like other people were asking me questions about health, I was like, people need help. Like, there is a wide range of people that need help. And especially when I realized in the Christian culture how health is just not really something that's talked about. Like, I really wanted to make a difference in that. And people were asking. And so I wanted to help them in that. And so really I never, like, in a million years would have thought that I would have like that I would grow to where I am now. It's so cool how God has allowed me to have this platform. But as I have continued to grow, I have had so much love from people. Like there are people who send me the most encouraging messages and literally just makes me tear up. It's crazy that God has given me the ability to have an impact on people. Like that I have encouraged people to start exercising, that I have encouraged people to take steps towards modesty. Like that is literally the coolest thing ever. I feel so blessed to do that. There's also a really different side to it where people unfortunately are so hateful, and it's so sad that somebody who I don't even know feels a need to comment such negative things on my on my posts. I try so hard in my posts. Like most of my posts are very geared towards faith-based people. And so for some reason people who don't want anything to do with Christianity feel the need that I'm attacking them. I'm just trying to challenge Christians to live in a better walk with the Lord. Like that is truly what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to challenge them in their faith. I'm trying to challenge them to get in the word, to read the word of God and see what his word has to say. Like that's my goal, is I am sharing what I believe the Bible has to say. But the Bible also says to test everything. So if you are a Christian, take what I'm saying to the Bible and really see if that lines up there. But for other people to just be so hateful and come at me, like I never am trying to like just push my beliefs on you, but it is my social media page. I have a calling to share the Lord. I have a calling to share faith and fitness together because that's a big thing. And I'm not gonna stop. Like there are people who have said horrible things. And I am like so thankful. I am so thankful that it really doesn't get to me. Like first, genuinely, some of my most viral videos have the most haters, but that is what has gotten my videos like to spike up, and that's what's gotten me a ton of followers. So like go ahead, let the haters hate. Like they're helping me get the good followers. So I am so thankful that it really doesn't affect me. There has been a couple times where either just people have messaged me saying like horribly inappropriate things, and that really bugs me. And then there's just been a couple times where like I've just posted things, like usually I can know when I'm gonna post something like it's going to get backlash. There's just been a couple things I posted that like I was unexpectedly had backlash, and that kind of took me back a little bit. But I'm super thankful that usually I don't let it affect me too much. It just is crazy to me how much like you can get behind a screen and just say like hateful things to somebody. Like if people want to disagree with me, that's totally fine. I am fine to have a civil conversation with somebody. But when somebody just comments hate on your page, I just think that that's horrible. Like it makes me sad as the generation that we live in. It's okay if you disagree with me. I just wish we could have a civil conversation about it without being hateful towards my personality and me as a person because of what I believe. You know what I mean? Like that definitely kind of makes me sad.
Yeah, like I said before, it's a very interesting concept that it's the keyboard warriors at work, and absolutely everyone is entitled to an opinion, and everybody is entitled to agree or disagree with absolutely anything
Yeah.
that they see online. But it's very interesting how much certain things would agitate other people. Especially, it's quite interesting when you said like
Mhm.
your content's very much geared towards a certain niche of people. Yeah, sometimes it
Yeah.
attracts people who perhaps just are there to hate on it, which I guess is the nature of social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But something
No.
I've been pondering recently, we kind of before we started recording, I was just saying to Hannah how I've been moving house, and I've been buying lots of things that I need to move house, like a new bread bin and, a new, like, just loads of random stuff like a rug and cushions, a sofa, and all these things that we need. You can live without them, but it's a pretty sad existence. And I've been really pondering vanity. So it's talked about in the Bible.
Mhm.
Um, Solomon talks about it in Ecclesiastes. Vanity, vanity. Effectively, he says everything in the world is vanity is his conclusion after having pretty much everything in the world on tap. He then renounces it all and say it's all vanity. It doesn't actually fulfill him. It's not fulfilling all of these things. They don't lead to that peace inside, that fulfillment. And you touched on the word fulfillment about fitness journey, and a lot of people find that it's kind of empty, and it's on this treadmill that you can't stop because then you just end up with this empty void because it's actually quite futile. So I've been
Mhm.
yeah, pondering vanity, and I think that vanity can be linked quite heavily with the fitness industry for reasons we've kind of said before, but also like why the wider world, the consumption of things, fashion trends, makeup, hair, all of the things that I certainly enjoy, I'm sure you enjoy as well. And I think that it's really hard to know whether you are like religious or not, a Christian or not, I think that everybody can relate to this vanity, this endless consumption of things, and it's exhausting. And I'm really interested in your thoughts on that because it's something that it just feels like the more, like, what is the point of all of these things that we need, that we must spend all of this money on that actually really don't matter? And it makes me think, well,
Mhm.
what does matter? Like, what should we be doing with our time? We're at these jobs to pay for all of these things that we don't really want to buy, but we need to buy. And sometimes we have enough money left over to do lovely things as well, like holidays, going out for food, whatever, buying things we enjoy. But it just seems this endless treadmill that makes me perhaps lean towards an existential crisis and go, oh my goodness, what is life?
Mm. Yeah, literally. Gosh, like even as somebody who posts on social media, like I can totally find myself falling into that because as I follow other influencers, it's like, oh, like I need this, like, oh, I have to get this. And like I have to be careful because obviously this is how I make my money by commission and collaborations and things like that. But I also want to be so careful because I don't want to cause others to fall into constantly needing this next thing. And there's, oh my gosh, every single week there's a new trend. There's a new thing that we have to have. Like, why? Like, literally, as I was moving, oh my goodness, I had so many beauty products that I don't even use. I was like, why do I have all of these? Like, I don't need these, or like my clothes, like they're barely fitting in this house because I have so many clothes. Like, I literally have it on my to do list this weekend to go through my clothes. Like, there's so much better things that I could be doing with my clothes. And this is actually such a great question. My husband and I have had quite a few conversations about this.
When you move, it's just, it brings it out, doesn't it? You're just like, all of this stuff.
Yes, I
And
was like,
then oh, men exactly. Like I think they get to a point when there's like one too many boxes and they just kind of snap and they go, "Really? Why do we need all of these things?"
exposing me over here, okay? But yeah, so we are in a place with some pretty wealthy people that we're surrounded with, which there is nothing wrong with having money. I want to stress that there is nothing wrong with having money. But Trevor, that's my husband's name. We have been talking recently, and it's just like, let's say that we just became crazy wealthy, what would we do with that money? Would we just treat ourselves to crazy nice cars, crazy nice house, all this stuff? Or would we actually use it for good? Like, there is nothing wrong with having those nice things, but can we still have a nice house, maybe not a super bougie house, and then give more to the church? Or like we've gone on mission trips before and there are definitely some really cool things that we could do with money there in mission. So like just thinking, just because you have the money does not mean that like you need to use it on yourself. Like let's say you have an extra $200 this month. Okay. Maybe you spend $100 getting a couple things and then going out to eat. And then maybe you like donate the $100. I think we have to realize that like just because we have extra money, like we shouldn't always be spending it on us because there's a lot of people in this world that do need help and that like simply going and buying a meal for a homeless people on the street, like go out of your way to do something for people. I think doing that and really just opening your eyes, like take your eyes off of yourself and what you want and look at other people's needs. And I think you will have more of a heart for the needs in this world because while there are some really great areas of wealth, and again, nothing wrong with wealth, but look at how you're using it and look at how you're taking in stuff. Like, do you need new things every week? Do you need new clothes every week? Like, no, we don't need those things. Like, I think we just need to learn to be content and not always need that next thing. And it's so easy to fall into it. I fall into it. I am not perfect here. But I have really tried like this year when at the beginning of my year, when I was going over my goals, I was like, Lord, I just want to be more minimalist this year. Like I don't need so many things, just trying to be so much more willing to get rid of clothes like activewear that I don't need, clothes that I don't need, and just be more willing to give. That's been a big word for me this year, is just being willing to give and not so like I'm somebody ever since I was young, I've been such a saver with my money. Like I really like to save, except I like to spend it on me, but I like when it comes to other things, I try to be like super savvy with it. And so over the past few months, like I've tried so much more to just be more generous and like be willing to give to other people, to help other people. And it is really it's freeing in a sense to kind of let go of that sense of always wanting to buy stuff for yourself. Like, I promise you, like, you guys take time this weekend, go buy somebody else something, look, open your eyes and see who needs a blessing, and you will feel so much more fulfillment than buying yourself something. Like, it really does change things, I promise.
And I actually think that it doesn't necessarily come down just to faith in that. I think that
Mhm.
it's not just about rules, or it's not bad to have things. And you very much said that, it's not bad to have things at all, or to spend money on yourself, or to get nice things, or buy a new sofa or whatever it is, move house, all of these things. It's not bad. And I think that a lot of people will get to the point when you kind of sit here and you're like, really? Like, why do I need all this stuff? You're just surrounded by all of these things. And I think that's the point we're getting to. It's not that
Mhm.
you have to give your money, your time, your things, or whatever. But when you look at your life and think, what is fulfillment? Where is that peace? I think that you're not going to find that in stuff. You have that rush. I think
Mhm.
we've all had it. When you buy something and you think, oh my goodness, this is great. Maybe a new outfit, and then you wear it once, maybe you wear it twice, and then suddenly you just don't care anymore. Like, it just really doesn't, like, that doesn't feel the same. It might be nice, but maybe if it's something really nice, you'll wear it 5 times, and then you will get bored of it. And
Mhm.
it's not deep rooted fulfillment. So I think when you look at life, what is it? It's not anything that leads to vanity. It is relationships with people, community with people, fellowship with people, blessing people, whether it is, little things like, taking your neighbor's, I don't know, bin in, or whatever you're doing, like make someone something. I don't know. It's very interesting, and it's something that's very much part of the Christian faith. But I actually think that people who aren't necessarily religious at all, or never really considered it, it's also just it's a path leading to more fulfillment in general in life, and it just comes from
Mhm.
more deep-rooted things. And it's quite interesting
Yeah.
that it's not about the stuff at the end of the day, and it is mentioned, like in Matthew, like, don't store up for yourself all of these things on earth, because like it'll be destroyed,
Yeah.
like, moths and vermin and whatever, it'll all rot away. And if you aren't religious and you're listening to this, your stuff's still gonna rot away. Like, I think it's pretty certain, like, we're all pretty sure it, like, we can't take
Yeah.
it with us wherever we go.
Yeah.
And it's just not fulfilling. I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at, but I just have had this overwhelming feeling of, what is it all about? What are we doing? With all of
Mhm.
these things, however nice they are, they never really last for a full lifetime of love in terms of what we can buy.
No, it's just that this world of instant gratification that we live in of, oh, we want this and it's just going to gratify us for this moment. And that's the problem is like wanting these instant results and these instant gratifications. And then, oh, like we love that dopamine hit. Like we love that instant gratification. So we need that and we need that and we need that. It's never satisfying. What it is it is Jesus. Like he is the one who would truly fulfill you, to bring you joy and satisfaction in life, and will change your heart. Because like for me, I used to be so focused, and I still sometimes am focused on wanting that next thing and needing that instant gratification. When I turn to Jesus and try to live for him and know what he has done for me and he's filled up my heart, it is just amazing. And there's true satisfaction found in that. Like we live in a really dark world. We live in a world where there are all sorts of things happening, and it is heartbreaking to see. It really is. And knowing that I have hope in Jesus, like I don't have to fear. And it's really sad for me to think about people in this world who don't have that. Like going day to day without that purpose of serving the Lord, going day to day without having hope that you have a place where you're going. Like I see all these different videos of like asking people like, where do you think you're gonna go when you die? Like, do you think you'll go to heaven? Like maybe like that's crazy. Like you are either going to heaven or hell. Like there is no in between here. And I get to have faith and confidence every single day that I am going to heaven, and that is such a blessing. I do not have to fear anything, because I know that no matter what happens, I'm going to be with my Savior Jesus, and I have full confidence in that. And that brings me purpose and fulfillment in my day-to-day life. And so in this world, we're constantly chasing that next thing, and not feeling satisfied, right? And so the only thing you're going to feel satisfied with is Jesus. And it is just, it's amazing. It really is.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it, when people get asked on the street, like, where do you think you'll go when you die? And
Hmm.
I mean, personally, I've never seen anyone actually ask except on videos online, but I'm sure that there's places
Right.
where people do. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think it's a very interesting question to consider if you've never considered it before. I think it's a very interesting one. You mentioned about modesty, and you mentioned it quite a lot in your content that you put online. And again, it's probably something that will get quite a lot of mixed feedback, and probably from
Yeah.
both men and women. I think that everyone would have quite a lot to say about that, because naturally in the gym you can kind of
Mhm.
wear whatever you want, whether
Mhm.
it's not much or very much. And you have
Yeah.
you used an audio in one of your reels. It says, "Not shame that keeps me covered, it's dignity and honor," which I thought was
Mhm.
quite interesting, because it I think when immediately the reaction might people have is like, "Oh my goodness, like, are you not allowed to wear whatever you want?" Or is it like people come at this angle of it, but you very much
Mhm.
suggest that perhaps you value modesty. Can you talk to me about that? Why did you feel like it was something important to put out there when you kind of would pretty much guarantee it would be quite a mixed response?
Yeah, so modesty was so I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were very much wanted me to dress modestly. And for me, I was always so annoyed. Like I tried to cut it as close to the line. I always was like just like trying to push it, get this a little bit shorter, a little bit more showier. That's what all my friends were doing. Like that's what everybody was doing. So I thought that was like cool. I thought the boys were gonna like me if that's what I looked like, you know? But as I grew older and I really grew in my own personal faith with the Lord, and really God showed me what modesty looks like over time. Like even now, like literally this week, I got rid of some gym clothes and I'm like, I just not feel like these are honoring to the Lord. So like it is a constant journey of growth. But we just live in a world that just is surrounded by showing off their body, thinking that that's what's going to impress others and that that's what kind of shows your worth. But it is nothing that I feel, again, nothing that I feel restricted and nothing that I feel forced to do. But instead of like trying to be like, oh, like, does this make me look so good here or there? Like, no, I get to just put on an outfit and feel cute and just feel good and confident in what I'm wearing. And also knowing that it's honoring the Lord. I don't have to try to stress about that. And the thing for me is like when I'm cutting it too close to the line, like I'm stressed rather like, oh my goodness, like is this showing? Because I want to be respectful of others. And like we okay. This is such a deep topic sometimes because like there's so many different things that go into it. And I will say, like when I post about these, the girls are actually the ones that come at me because they're just like, you can wear whatever you want, like don't push this on me. Like the girls are equal in the comments, let me tell you. I am trying to encourage them to live a free flowing lifestyle, especially as a Christian, because we are called to look different than the world. So there is just so many reasons to dress modestly, and it is a blessing, and it is hard. Like don't like it is hard because you do have to go the extra mile because clothes now are not made for you to dress modestly. Clothes are made to show the most, and it's hard. And a lot of people also come at me and are like, well, if you were like curvier or bigger, things like that, like you wouldn't be able to wear this. And I'm like, okay, then I would go search for something else. Like I'm showing you in my body type what works for me to be modest. And they are different things that like I've worn that like as I've grown, okay, I've had to switch and get bigger sizes and different things like that. Modesty is freeing, really it is. It is a beautiful thing to respect your body and to respect the Lord. And while it is hard work to live a modest life in the world we live in, especially because it's scary sometimes to get made fun of and get looked at because you're different, but it's really it's a blessing. It really is.
Very interesting and very countercultural to have that kind of
Yeah.
discussion, and people immediately jump onto, oh my goodness, you're being forced to wear those things and all of these things. People can't really believe that
Right.
perhaps the level of empowerment that everybody has to choose their own thing would mean that you can also choose what you would like to wear and what you feel comfortable and you feel is right to wear. And I think it does work that whole level. It can be, if everybody is empowered to wear whatever, it means that they can choose to do that. And I think it's very interesting, the concept of it, because it's something that is important, and it's, I guess, leaning back in a way to where you get your worth from. Where is your worth? What do you think you're worthy in? Is it how you look, or is it who you are, or is it what you do?
Mhm.
And I think they're very important questions to actually think about. And I was actually on our long drive back, that to move house this week, I was thinking about earrings. So I have earrings. I enjoy my earrings and I like to wear my earrings, but like they have absolutely no purpose. And I wasn't thinking about this in any kind of like spiritual sense, but I was just, what is the purpose of earrings? Like what it literally is the most probably one of the most obvious appearance-based things because you wear
Hmm.
rings, they're like a symbol of marriage or symbols of all, signet rings, whatever. But for earrings, they literally are to glamorize you, and I assume that there's. I should have looked into it, but I've not yet. But like what the origins of earrings are, like I'm sure that there was some sort of if you were rich and it was a symbol of health, which means you were a symbol of like fertility, and then it meant that you were worth like all the historical aspects of how crazy if we look back into the origins of anything, I think it'll all kind of link down to that. I think that people will probably hate on something like that, but also it's such a basis from like historical perspective on things that I think it actually gives us a huge idea of how our society and culture is formed, because even the Bible, whether you have read it, whether you hate it, whether you have turned this podcast off because you don't like talking about it or listening about it, then it's
Hmm.
the best selling book every single week of every single year, and it's not included on the top charts of any selling books because it would literally take over every week, but you can Google it. It's the most best selling book. um and it's such a basis of what of a lot of huge part of society has really been formed on it. So whether you disagree with it or not, there's a
Hmm.
huge impact that it's had, and I think it's a very interesting point of reference. Just as like the Romans had a big impact, the Greeks had a big impact. There's so many different cultural demographics that have had a sway on how our society was built in and what we think is normal and what we like. Earrings are normal. Why are they normal? I'm going to find that out because I love my earrings, like, and all of these
Yeah.
things that perhaps it's quite a weird origin when we kind of break it down. So it's interesting the impact, I guess, that it's had, all of the sway of these things, whether you have like the Bible, don't like the Bible, never thought about the Bible at all, it doesn't make it irrelevant.
That's so interesting. I've never really like thought about some of those things. Um, yeah, let me know whenever you kind of if you dig into the thing about the earrings. I'm super interested to hear about that.
And I think I want to stress, and it's definitely what you've been stressing as well, is like there's no rules when it comes to this. This is basically a discussion about these topics that are really important in society.
Mhm.
And it's not that there's any right or any wrong, but it's exploring these social norms to actually see if they should be challenged, should not be challenged. And it's
Mhm.
very refreshing for me, certainly, to discuss these things because either it'll affirm your belief in one way or it'll like perhaps introduce you to a new belief in another way. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with having these big discussions about such important topics. And it's been really lovely to discuss this with you, and thank you so much for taking time to discuss these things. And if people want to follow you online and perhaps find out a bit more about what you do, why you do it, what you post, what you think, and maybe even get coached by you, where should they go?
Yeah, so Hannah Roy Fit is all of my social medias. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I post on all of those. So that's the best way to follow me. Hannah Roy Fit at Gmail if you wanted to contact me about coaching. Or my business is called Fit Faith Flourish. So if you go to fitfaithflourish.com, you can go on there as well to kind of figure out more about what I do, my coaching, and everything like that. But on my Instagram, I really do just try to encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle, make it fun, share my faith. And again, not something I try to force. Yeah, I think you made a great point about like this is just our viewpoints. This is what I've discovered in my own personal walk with the Lord, and it's been awesome. But yeah, I think it's so great to have these conversations. Like people need to have deep conversations sometimes and have real conversations, and like we can sit here and agree to disagree. Like that's okay, but just simply sharing our own views. Like I think this conversation was awesome. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really loved it.
Well, thank you, Hannah. I really enjoyed it too. And I will link your socials in the description of this show so people can check it out, see what you're up to, and thank you for listening and joining.